Welcome back to MotoAmerica here at New Jersey Motorsports Park in Millville, New Jersey, as we're getting ready for the start of the Supersport race. As we take a look at Garrett Gerloff, he's getting ready for it. Let's take a look at the starting grid for this race as Garrett Gerloff on pole position at a 122.536. Next to him, Valentin DeBees at a 123.282. And then JD Beach, a 123.84. You can see the difference right there, 0.7 of a second to JD 1.3. Like you mentioned, though, as we saw earlier, JD Beach only got 4 laps. Yes. It was early in the session, then he crashed, but he did go out and go fast. He matched his fast time, so he's got a lot of confidence going into this race.
100%, yeah. He knows that whatever he had under that bike, it worked. Simple mistake this morning. Row 2, Benny Sleece, Michael Gilbert. Local boy, Anthony Mazziato, winner from Pittsburgh. Great to see Anthony up there again. Run on the second row. Row 3, Nick McFadden, Shane Richardson, and Mike Selpe comes in and is taking over for, let's see, he's on the Ridiculous crew this weekend. So good to see him here. Braden Norton, Connor Blevins, Jason Aguilar round out row 4. You can see our Superstock riders got the yellow plates there. Daytona Anderson, Isaiah Davis, Lucas Silver. Good to see Lucas up from Florida on row 5. Row 6, Joe Giannato, Jody Berry, and Brandon Cleland.
And as we make our way back through this impressive field, on row 7 is Carolyn Olson, Bailey Cox, and Joshua Picard. Josh Picard getting there at the outside of row 7. Jared Nassany, Emerson Amaya, and Timothy Wilson. And then we had this final rows 9 and 10. Looking back, some really talented names in this field, Jason. And as we get set to race, all eyes are going to be on, can anyone slow down Garrett Gerloff? Now, the championship point situation is now 32 points. So different from where we are with Superbike and Superstock 1000. It's a little closer here, 32 points just over a race. We pay 25 points for a race win, and we only have 4 races left to go. That means there's only 100 points to give. So can JD Beach stop the bleeding at this point and put Garrett Gerloff behind him? The start is going to tell it all. But there's a lot of keys to this race. Jason, let's take a look at JP's Kawasaki keys to the race.
You're going to have to get through them because these guys are coming up to the line as we sit here, Greg. But the first thing is Gerloff. You know, we've talked about him already a little bit and how good he is. He's just going to continue to dominate. Is he going to continue to dominate? All directions are pointing that way right now. I don't know who's going to be able to step up, but somebody's going to have to. 600 Superstock battle. Jason Aguilar showed me a lot of resilience at the last race. The kid could have thrown away a lot of points in the first race, picked his bike up, got points, won the second day. Michael Gilbert's on pole today for 600 Superstock. What's going to happen over? And then today, multiple tip overs in qualifying. This morning we saw quite a few riders. The air temperatures great. It's a perfect day for racing, Greg, but the track temperature's not as high as I think a lot of people would like it. Now we got a little bit of this cloud cover. We're going to have to keep a close eye on the grip here.
All right, so here we go. Garrett Gerloff, the #1 plate on pole position. As we get ready for this one, it's Supersport race #1 from New Jersey. Away we go, and Garrett Gerloff and JDB with a good launch. Hey, JD Beach, the 95 with a good launch. And it looks like JD is going to make his way into turn #1 and be the first rider. As Gerloff tried to sweep around the outside, JD will hold on to that position. So exactly the start that Beach wanted.
And it looks like, yes, 2 Yamahas, and Benny Sleece has jumped in there in 3rd, DeBees 4th, and then you're going to have Superstock guys. Looks like it's Mazziato to me, Greg, that's just rounding out our top 5. Nick McFadden looks like he's in close pursuit there. It's a great shot from our camera work here on the inside of turn 4. And these guys all come up over that little wheelie hill rise there into this fast right-hand kink into turn 5. So JD's leading. This is exactly what JD needs to do. He needs to get out front and make it difficult for Garrett to pass. Now, what I would probably be thinking that's going to happen here, Greg, is they're going to get through all this technical section that we're going to go through, and I'm sure Garrett's going to try to get a run on him on the front straightaway. This is all the little technical section that we were talking about when we were showing our track map a little bit earlier on. But right now, JD hasn't led a race in a while, you know, especially a lap. So for him to be where he's at right now, it's going to give him a chance to kind of push the pace, see what he's got underneath him, And Garrett is just going to kind of watch. Garrett hasn't been second in a while, come to think of it.
No, he certainly hasn't, as J.D. Beach ekes out a little bit of an advantage. As we head onto the front straightaway, Jason, we'll see if this plays into it. It looks like Gerloff's a little bit far behind for a draft and pass maneuver on this lap, but Valentin DeBees on the M4 XR Suzuki gets around the 35 of Benny Solis. So now DeBees gets his Suzuki into third spot, and he'll set sail after the Monster Energy Yamalu YES Graves Yamahas.
If you remember last year, these guys all kind of stayed together for a lot of the race until about half distance. And it was these same 4 guys last year also. And I think we had Cam Peterson in there as well. And so we'll see if DeBees can push the pace and pull Benny back up to these guys. I'm going to be very get a keen eye on our split times that you and I get to look at here. I think Garrett's going to take his time, make sure all of his tires are up to the temperatures that he needs them to be at. And then he's going to try to come after JD a little bit more aggressive. He's already gotten closer this lap, Greg. And you really can tell the difference between the 2 riders when you're out there and you're watching and you see the things that they do a little bit differently.
First lap from a standing stop, 125.5. So we're going to see this next time around what Garrett Gerloff has in the tank. J.D. Beach a little bit wider on that line. As you can see, just the movement in his back and the saddle, just spinning that tire.
Well, what you just said there, did you see Garrett's leg come out? Red flag. Must be a red flag. Has to be because... Yep. I'll tell you, yeah, good on those guys there.
Good job by Garrett.
So Garrett got his leg up right away, and I saw the 2 guys behind actually getting off the racetrack. So
red flag incident here in Supersport, Superstock, and you can see the rider getting off the racetrack right
Mike
there.
Selpe, Greg. You know what's funny is I saw him coming across the line with the other 2 Superstock riders, and in the back of our screen on turn 6 just now, I didn't see him in the screen. So this is probably going to be over in the turn 3A, B, C area if I had to guess. But Mike looks like he's a little bit shook up. So
Mike Selpe Racing.
Don't like seeing that at all.
Out of West Orange, New Jersey on that 114 machine.
Yep.
So Selpe right there. They'll have to attend to him.
Yeah, looks like he's good, which is good.
So red flag conditions in MotoAmerica, Supersport, Superstock 600. So what that means is that the race stops. So there's an incident on the racetrack that would cause danger to other riders on the racetrack. So we're going to stop this race right now, and then MotoAmerica will look at the grid positions. Because we've got 2 laps in, they're going to revert back. So it's probably going to be a complete restart on this one. Now the rule is in MotoAmerica that unless Dunlop says that there's the ability, like a reason for you to change the tires remain the same. The crew is allowed to refuel bikes, so there's very limited things they can do during these red flags. There's a look at Mike.
You know, that looks like it, Greg. That looks like it could be that fast kink also.
And looks like he's done stumbling around too, which is good.
Yeah, that's good. That's that fast right-hand kink, and that's a quick crash there, Greg.
So it looks like Mike is going to be okay. We're going to take a break here on BN Sports. On the other side, we're starting to get this all sorted out, and we'll get back to racing in moments. So don't go anywhere, as the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship is right here on BN Sports, as we'll continue Supersport and Superstock 600 in a moment. All right, we're back to New Jersey Motorsports Park, and red flag has been taken care of, and Mike Selpe up and okay, and they've cleaned up that incident. So we're getting ready to restart this race. 16 laps at the original grid positions. So that's what we're going to find. Riders have gone out on their sighting lap, so now they get into their grid positions. This will be a dump of the clutch and a warm-up lap, re-grid, and go. So that's the situation we're under, Jason. You know, these are difficult times. Obviously, red flags, you get kind of hyped up all during the day, and then all of a sudden, you know, the red flag stops, and we talk about it often about being able to refocus. I mean, this is just part of racing.
That's absolutely right. You kind of get thrown out of your routine a little bit, if you will. But a lot of these guys with a ton of experience, they're used to this. They've had this kind of stuff happen before. Just happy to see that Mike was okay. I made a little mention earlier, Greg. He's running for his own team, his own thing. And I made a little mistake saying that I thought he was taking the place of somebody on another team. And but yeah, he's definitely riding his own thing. So he's doing a great job on a privateer effort. And we're just happy to see him up and okay. But yeah, getting back to getting used to what it's like to have a red flag. Cool thing is the way MotoAmerica does it too. They don't keep you on the keep you out there for a long time. It was a 5-minute deal. They go, they do a quick warm-up, a siding lap, come back to the grid up, and then they go on this warm-up lap now. So no time really wasted, and everybody's ready to go.
An opportunity for Garrett Gerloff to get another launch and try to get out front and run his own pace, but JD Beach is going to be looking to repeat, because you could tell that the way that Garrett Gerloff was riding behind JD, that he was already starting to size him up.
He was, and JD's got so much racecraft. I mean, we've seen him win so many races, and
yeah, when he wasn't the fastest rider, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. He knows how to win races, whether he's fastest or not fastest. But generally, he's been the fastest the last 8 races of last season. He was ripping, and but he knows he's got to get to that point now where he's got to kind of bully Garrett. He's got if Garrett gets by him, JD's got to fire right back as quickly as he can, safely as he can. You know, that's what he's going to be looking to try to do. And also, they made some changes, as you said, and he only got to do 4 laps this morning before he tipped over, but maybe those changes were enough to maybe get him that extra half second or second that he needs per lap. It's the consistency, Greg, that winds you down, because this guy just goes out and does the laps, and he just consistently burns them off. Everybody can do 1 lap here, 1 lap there, but Garrett is, he just keeps burning off the laps one after the other.
And these races, of course, having implications in the off season. Who's going where next season? I mean, we're in full-blown silly season, but not many people have really talked about it. Waiting for some word on what the class structure is going to look like next year. Is a good look at the Monster Energy Yamalu YS Graves Yamaha team. Ollie, who is the crew chief for Garrett Gerloff, taking a look. All right, so here we go. It's start number 2 for our first race of the weekend. Supersport Superstock 600. Can JD Beach get another good one? Looks like Valentin DeBees got off better that time. JD Beach with another good launch into turn number 1, but it's Garrett Gerloff who sweeps around the outside.
And now we're going to see what JD's really got, because Garrett kind of looked like he cruised on the opening lap of the first start that we had just now, and now he's going to try to set sail. You can already see he's trying to set sail a little bit, try to get that first good clear lap under your belt, and then see what kind of times you can do from there.
Garrett Gerloff, this is exactly what he wants with his riding style, which is a lot of lean angle, a lot of corner speed. He likes to get out front early and set the pace. And 4X Star Suzuki's Valentin DeBees with a better start. He gets around 35. Benny Solis early on. So now he's in tow, and so that's what this rider needs. He needs to get on the back of these Yamahas. As JD Beach under braking, you can see the rear end just protesting a little bit as Gerloff trying to put this lap time down and just try to break the spirit early on. Boy, that red flag really hurting JD Beach in terms of his race strategy.
Yeah, just a little bit, but I think that this is where he's so good on the edge of the tires, Garrett. And if you watch, they're going to come onto this front straightaway here in a minute, go through this last turn, and watch the difference when they come into turn 1, how Garrett's bike will stay in line a little bit more than JD's. Garrett just does this thing now where he's grabbing the brakes, he gets his downshifts and his braking done, but the bike stays very kind of in line. There's not a lot of heavy, and you can see JD's bike is just a little bit backed in, a little bit sideways, and so
they even left the black mark on the asphalt.
So the mid-corner speed, when you sit down there in turn 1 like I did yesterday, you could really see a difference between the two, and the roll-on of the throttle for Garrett is happening maybe 20 feet earlier than it is for JD, and it was just something that you're able to see when you're out there watching. Here's the leaders, Mazziato right now with McFadden and Shane Richardson directly behind him, and then Michael Gilbert behind Shane. This is the battle for Superstock that we've been talking about with Braden Nort just back there. I saw him. He got a real bad start in the first one, did Braden. And so for him to be where he's at now, right behind those leaders, that's going to be a good spot for him. But you can see it, Greg. Right off the bat on our screen, we've gone purple, as we would because it's their first flying lap. But it's Garrett Gerloff, who's he just puts his time in. And first split's 3/10, second split's another 10th. And but this is what JD does good too. He's able to kind of follow and watch and see what's going on, and he'll make adjustments as he goes to try to keep on the back of Garrett.
JD Beach out of Kentucky now, originally from the West Coast, living in Philpott, Kentucky, where he's got his own track out there. He's got visitors all the time. He rides all the time, bicycle and motorcycle, dirt tracking. And JD's still trying to find the formula, the form he had last year when he, at the end of last season, went on an 8-race win streak. But now it's all about Garrett Gerloff, as Gerloff has had 5 race wins in a row, and he's done it in dominating fashion as of late, as he's trying to wrap up this championship. And we talked about silly season.
See, these guys all through that little S section there, Greg, is so bumpy. A lot of through that S is just a lot of little bumps and ripples, and that'll catch you out if you get away from those curvings too much. It'll catch you out just a little bit. 22.1, Greg, right off the bat for Garrett. That's 0.4 quicker than he qualified. So with a little bit of extra temperature in the air, putting a little bit more temperature into the track. But look at Valentin DeBees. This guy, I love how he is a grinder. Valentin is just a grinder. He doesn't want to let these guys go. And we've seen some tracks at the beginning of the year where he was able to stay right with them. And if he could just kind of keep JD honest there for, let's just say, the first 5 or 6 laps, the further Garrett gets away, it can break the spirit of a guy. And Valentin just needs to try to get there as close as he can to JD and stay close to him if he can for later on in the race.
Valentin DeBees has definitely had an up and down season this year. He started off with a couple second place finishes. He won the 3rd round and a couple DNFs. And he's just really been struggling with finding the front end feel that he needs. There's a lot of talk about how well the Suzuki gets off the corner, but the age of the Suzuki and the way that it works in terms of, the Yamaha R6 is a brand new bike. It has more sensors, throttle by wire, all that kind of stuff, is at top speed. So Valentin really tries to make it up with braking and corner speed, and so front end feel becomes really important for the Frenchman. Now, this rider right here, Benito Solis on the CBR 600 RR, really, they've done an outstanding job.
Amazing what they've done with that bike. I mean, it's Benny and his dad and the whole crew, Marco, everybody down there worked really hard on this Callan Ventures CBR 600, and they've done a really good job for Honda, I think, in the idea that he's the only guy that's been riding a Honda for a while now, and they just keep on trying to make improvements on that little bike to make it better. But the Yamahas have just gotten so good that the Suzukis and Hondas, we saw Valentin make some mistakes in the year just pushing because he's trying so hard to stay there. And I don't know if they're as much mistakes as they are just trying to make up for a little bit of a deficit, obviously, that these two Monster Energy Yamahas have right now. These R6s are so good that the rest of the guys they need to come up with a new 600, I think, right? It would be great to see them come out with some new 600s.
And that's really part of it. Also the mastermind behind the electronics on this motorcycle, Chuck Graves from Graves Motorsports, who is obviously part of the namesake. It's the Monster Energy Yamaha YS Graves Yamaha team. And Chuck continues to just keep his nose in that laptop and 100%. Learn more and more. And that's part of, I think, what we've seen as these riders start to eke their way forward, the Yamaha riders from the rest of the field. Now, here's a Yamaha rider. The 516 is Anthony Mazziato III out of Hampton, New Jersey. He's on the YCRS Mazziato Racing Yamaha, and this is, without question, his local track. And Anthony, who came from KTM RC Cup last season, has already had a great season in the races he's been able to make in the Superstock 600 class. Mazziato's 8th in the points, but he's got a win, 2 second places, and a 3rd place finish.
And he missed our West Coast swing, all of our West Coast swings. So that really hurt him in the points wise. But the thing is he's doing a great job, and he spent a lot of time at this track. I remember hearing about Anthony 3 or 4 years ago when he was really young. But look at this battle for Superstock, Craig. You got sort of 6, 7, 8 guys all going after each other right now. And there's Braden Ort, who I said got a little reprieve because he didn't get a very good start the first time. Second start's much better, and you can see right now Nick McFadden. Good to see Nick back up front. We expect to see Nick running up front all the time. Michael Gilbert looks like he's trying to slide underneath Shane Richardson there, and has done so. Between Michael Gilbert and Jason Aguilar, that's where the points are right now between those two guys. So Michael now has split himself up into 3rd. He's going to try to do his best to get the best drive on this front straightaway as he can and try to get in Nick McFadden's draft.
Aguilar, number 96, he is 17 points ahead of Michael Gilbert, 55. 16, Nick McFadden out of Owensboro, Kentucky, part of that OWB clan. As now the 555 going up underneath.
Great job by Braden Ort.
Braden, a good job by making that big move. Of course, Nick McFadden on the M4 Mid-Age Suzuki, keeping our Superstock 600 leader in sight right now as these riders trying to sort themselves out. Michael Gilbert would be the benefactor as Jason Aguilar circulates in 10th spot. So keep an eye on that 55 bike, because as we get deep into this race, Gilbert's the one who's going to have to make some big moves. He's going to really have to hold his breath and make some aggressive passes and capture as many points as he can if he wants to try to close that 17-point gap on Aguilar.
Jason's right there though too. There's Jason. He's just in the back behind Shane Richardson there. But he's right there on the back of this group also. So he can see Michael up in front of him and knows what's going on, and he'll be He'll be playing the card. He's got quite a few laps left here. Let's see if Michael does anything here as they go up into the S's. Him and Nick kind of run the same line up into that area. So you can see Braden Orr is itching to get by Michael Gilbert right now. So he could be another wild card. We saw Braden win races this year at Sonoma. He won the first race there at Sonoma this year. And here we go back up front. This is exactly what I talked about earlier, Greg. When Garrett starts to pull away, it doesn't just, you hate saying it breaks the will of somebody, but it really does. And you're pushing as hard as you can. You're trying as best you can to make up that time. But when if you have to keep running in corners, you might make a mistake, one mistake here, one mistake there, and it allows somebody like Valentin de Bees to try to stay there on the back of you.
Yeah, because a lot of times as well, when you have somebody close, it just seems like it's just easier to do that pace and to close in on someone. And JD now, with a 3.3-second gap to Garrett Gerloff, is starting to lose touch. And so JD Beach is having to do his lap times all on his own without that reference point up front. So it is Monster Energy, Yamaha, YS Graves, Yamahas, JD Beach coming under attack from M4 X-Star Suzuki's Valentin de Bees here in just a moment. We'll see on this next lap time, though. You talked about it. Valentin de Bees, man, he just constantly fights, and he talks about it. He's talked about it for the 2 seasons he's been here, that he just won't give up. There's no give up. Why?
No.
He's out here to race. He's out here to win, and that's all he wants to do.
That's exactly right. He wants to win races, and at the end of the day, he needs to keep pressuring the guy in front of him, and that's what he's doing. He's able to keep running these consistent lap times. Garrett is running consistent 20-minute, 22-second lap times. Everybody else is in the 23s. That lap by 22.9 for Garrett, and let's look 23.5, 23.3 for these two guys right here. So Valentin's going to have something for JD here towards the end of this race if he keeps up where he's at right now. They've dropped Benny Solis back a little bit. Benny's in mid-24s, so it's kind of everybody's kind of mid-22s for the leader, then 23s for the next two, then 24, and you can see these guys are real close to each other now. Little jump there is pretty cool. If you're over there and you run the fans, you get to watch these guys roll up over there. They kind of scrub it almost like the motocrossers do on motocross bikes, especially on the big bikes. But look at the lead Garrett's got now, Greg. It's up to the better part of 4 seconds.
4-second lead now, but it's the 53 M4 X-Star Suzuki's Valentin de Bees who's closing that gap. A 1/10 of a second every little bit. So right now, it's just, you can see it physically. It's about half a second is the difference. Valentin de Bees, he's smart. He's going to know that he can't go get Garrett Gerloff. But Superstock Michael Gilbert's gotten in front. So that's shuffled around. Our tightest championship in the MotoAmerica Series Superstock 600 is really starting to shuffle around.
And Braden Orr is up to second. Mazziato's got shuffled back to third. Nick McFadden, look at, there's Aguilar. Aguilar's back there running in fifth, but he's going to start coming and threatening these guys in front of him. He knows that he doesn't want to let Michael win by too much or get too many points, get too many people between them, Greg. That's what he's trying to do right now, is try to keep that gap where it's at, because if they finish right now the exact way they stand, well, that'd be a 14-point gap that would be closed down, but there's still a lot of racing to go. 9 to 16.
Yep. So Braden Orr, here's look.
Michael coming on the front straightaway, got a great drive and was able to get past Mazziato as they headed down into turn 1. And everybody's kind of held through the form there, through the middle of turn 1. Right on the back of Aguilar is Shane Richardson, Jody Berry, and Connor Blevins, all 3 guys on Kawasaki's there.
So once again, this is 2 battles we're looking at. The battle you're actually looking at on the racetrack is for 5th spot overall, but it's also the lead of the Superstock 600. You can tell the difference in the motorcycles by those number plates, red backing, yellow numbers. Also, a difference between these Supersport bikes and the Superstock 600 bikes, the tires. These are slick tires versus a DOT tire that the Superstock 600 riders have to ride on.
Yep, and to be fair, the lap times have been a little bit off of what they even were last year when you look at the Superstock guys, and nobody can really say why. They say, again, the grip doesn't seem quite as good as it's been in the past, even with our Supersport guys. Even though Garrett's running around out here right now just doing, let's see, 23 flat. It's the first lap he's done in his 23s, so 23 fours for these 2 guys. So, but maybe the grip level's just not there. Like you said, Greg, the surface has gotten a little bit bumpy and it's not the greatest, and we just don't have a lot of heat in the track right now.
As we continue to look at the battle for 2nd place, JD Beach and Valentin de Bees, this thing is closed right up as Valentin de Bees once he gets on the back of JD Beach. JD is a difficult rider to pass. And one thing I was talking with JD about, Jason, was when we talked race strategy earlier on this weekend, he said, you know, I was watching the races from last year, and you could see that I was taking different lines. I would take tight lines. And he said, that's because I'm always out. That's not a tight line there, as he kind of opens up the door for Valentin de Bees. But JD told me that in practice, he's always trying different lines to see how his motorcycle is going to react. So when he gets into a situation like he's in right now, and he has to race, that he has that in his toolbox.
Yep.
Tool in his toolbox. And it's a good lesson to learn for a lot of young riders, because you don't just go out there and ride as fast as you can, as hard as you can all the time. You got to try some things different in practice.
You got to try some different stuff, and that's what JD's been able to do for so long as a dirt tracker. Those guys, the track conditions are constantly changing, and so I'm sure he's used to doing that a little bit more coming from the dirt track world. But it's all those little, like we saw him make just a little bit of mistake there in turn 5. He's trying his best to try to stay where he's at. You can see the bike moving around a little bit there, and all the while Valentin is just running in a consistent pace. And right now these guys 23.8, 23.5 that last time, so they're just losing half a second is what they're losing. They're losing about half a second a lap.
Valentin de Bees is able to get off that final corner, get through that final corner so well that he's able to take that Suzuki right onto the tail section of JD Beach. It's this technical section that we talked about from right here as Beach starts to accelerate away. Valentin de Bees is just, overall, obviously, he's able to get right on the back of JD.
He's faster here,
but the question is, where is he going to make the big move? Because this is not the easiest racetrack to pass on.
Nope, and JD did the same thing he did there last time. Just got in there a little bit fast, and you can see that's a huge commitment to try to pass somebody into that very fast turn 6. And all the rest of this is just Valentin's going to have to just kind of follow. It's very hard to do anything with anybody through this particular spot.
And JD's bike just looks so upset on braking. When he gets on the brakes, the bike just moves around. So here's our race leader, Garrett Gerloff, now with a 5.6-second lead over JD Beach and Valentin de Bees and the rest of the field as he is getting his way through lap traffic.
Yep, and there's a big group of people there too. And he's going to have a clean run down the front straightaway, which is good. These two guys here are going to catch up to this group in a bad spot, probably, Greg, somewhere in this lap here, and it's going to allow the Bees to probably draw a little bit closer to JD. But you can see that Garrett's already made his way through about 4 of the back markers here, and here's JD getting stuck right now.
Ooh, nice move.
Yep, good. Goes up underneath him, coming out up over the top of turn 2. And you know this track too, because it's only 2.2 miles, but it's a fast lap. You're going to see these guys get themselves into some back markers for sure.
You look at the number 95, white backing with the blue numbers. That's JD Beach. This is the battle for second spot with the 53 of Valentin de Bees. That's Monster Energy Yamaha YES Graves Yamaha versus M4X Star Suzuki. US versus France.
Yeah.
These guys going after it, trying to get another podium position under their belts. As Garrett Gerloff set sail, he is gone at this point. 5.9 seconds last time by the stripe.
And they are going to catch up to these two guys in a bad spot too, right in the middle of the S's. When they come out of here, Greg, they're going to be going through this left-hander, and there's going to be some S's that they're going to be going through. That's going to make it even more hard for them.
What a risky move by JD Beach to go around the outside. He transitions on the inside. As the blue flags are flying, you can see it right when we switch to that camera shot. That's an indication to these lap riders that faster riders are coming through, and beware, hold your line. So a good job by CJ LaRoche out of Ohio on the number 20 to just hold his position. So JD Beach continues his circulation of this racetrack. It's really up to Valentin de Bees at this point. Can Valentin hold on to this pace, as JD had lowered his lap times last time by it into the 23s for a moment before lap traffic. 24.6, 24.9. So JD, even in traffic, didn't give away too much. Just 2 laps ago, we saw that there was only a bike length between these two guys.
Yeah, they're going to get close together again, and there's another big group of tail enders that they're going to be coming up on here in the next 3 or 4 laps, Greg. I think Garrett's going to probably be getting into that same group here shortly, and that could definitely make things a little bit more interesting for sure. But 7.4-second lead, I mean, it's just, we just haven't seen this kind of dominance in 600 in so many years. You know, even when JD was winning last year, a lot of them were close races, or he had with his teammate, and he was coming out on the top part of that. Here we go back a little bit further. Here's Michael Gilbert. He's going around back marker there, his first back marker of the race that he has caught up to and passed. And it looked like Braden Norton's still running second, but I think Jason Aguilar has done a spectacular job, moved himself up into third, and really limiting the points damage that could be done here that Michael's, by Michael winning the race or ahead in the race right now.
Yeah, in that championship, if Ort can hold on. By the way, Ort's only had one podium finish so far this season, and that was a win 4 races ago. So this would be Ort's second podium finish in the Superstock 600 class if he can hold on to this. And Michael Gilbert certainly would appreciate it because the difference there is 4. So if Michael Gilbert can hold on to the end, and Aguilar back there, the number 96 who swept in the middle of your screen, that's the white motorcycle right behind the 55. There is Aguilar. The difference would be 9 points, which would close that gap up to only 8 in the championship.
Yeah, it's going to get close, and there's still some guys behind Jason that he's going to have to fend off. He's got Richardson and Connor Blevins I saw there still coming, so we'll just have to see how that goes. And Mazziato's got so many laps around here, you got to think he's going to be difficult to pass also. But these two guys are still glued together. Back into the 23s the last lap, Greg. 23.5, 23.4 for Valentin.
And meanwhile, Benny Solis, a lonely race. He's 15 seconds behind these guys and 12 seconds ahead of Michael Gilbert. A good job by the Honda rider. He's just got to find that little bit of extra if they could keep working this overnight and see if he can close that gap. But this battle for second place as we head down, as the laps start to wind down here, is the penultimate lap of this race. As it's time for Valentin DeBees to make his move. He might, if he has anything up his sleeve, he might decide to wait until the last lap and not give JD an opportunity. But, I'm thinking to myself, Jason, JD's such a crafty racer, you might as well just give him a shot early maybe, because then you can see what is he going to do to fight back, as opposed to, I'm going to throw him a shot and hope he fights back and then I'm stuck.
Well, I think JD he knows how to block, he knows how to run the turns tight. Look at how good DeBees goes through this kink. But he's not really able to do anything after that. And these guys all have 5 back markers in front of them right now that they're going to have to get their way through. As you can see, Garrett Gerloff has got through all the traffic he needs to get through, Greg. And, he should have a pretty clear run to the finish line from here. You see there's one person in front of him up ahead, but that's really it. And with an 8-second lead, he's going to be coming across for the white flag this lap.
What a performance by Garrett Gerloff. 22-1, the fastest lap of the race. Set on lap number 2 when he had the entire field chasing him. He put the lap down that he needed to make the break, and then he's just been managing the race from the front ever since. White flag flies. Our final lap of race number 1 from New Jersey Motorsports Park. In traffic, JD Beach.
Wow, these guys, they've come up onto this big group of back markers here, and JD's gotten through. What's going to happen to DeBees? Is he going to be able to squeeze under Jarrett? Yep, he does. You got Josh Picard there. Steven Dietz is there, I believe.
Yep.
Big group of them all having a big battle in amongst themselves. So it looked like they all did a pretty good job, and we'll see what happens to that battle for second as you see Garrett's just off on his own.
Working this final lap. Monster Energy, Yamalu, YES, Graves, Yamaha, Garrett Gerloff trying to capture his 6th race win in a row. Trying to duplicate what his teammate JD Beach did last season. This would be Garrett's 9th win of the season if he can pull this off. He's only been off the podium 1 time all year, and that was race number 9 that we had all the way back in Utah, where he finished the race but didn't score any points. What a championship run this rider has been on. If JD Beach can hold on to that 2nd spot, he would only give away another 5 points, which would take this to 37. The time is running out in this championship as we head towards the checkered flag. Out of Texas, New Waverly, Texas, Garrett Gerloff. Oh, a nice stand-up little knack-knack from Garrett Gerloff. He'll take the checkered flag and race win number 1 of the day. And as we come onto the front straightaway, big move by Valentin DeBees, and he will snatch 2nd place from JD Beach.
Wow, that's big. That's huge. That's another 9 points in the bag there for him.
And as our battle in the Supersport continues, it's Benny Solis working his way onto the front straightaway. So the Honda rider will come home in 4th spot overall, take another good 13 points, but it's that Superstock 600 battle going on between Michael Gilbert, Braden Norton, Jason Aguilar, Nick McFadden.
Comes Michael Gilbert, comes across the line. That's a big win from him. Braden Norton, looks like Nick McFadden.
Will Nick McFadden take it? He does. So McFadden gets by Aguilar, and he'll stand on the podium, and that actually works in Gilbert's favor. So in that Superstock battle, you have Gilbert, who scored 25. Aguilar's going to get 13. That's a 12-point swing. That means when we head into tomorrow's race, it's going to be 5 points the difference. The tightest championship we have in MotoAmerica at this point of the season. Superstock 600. What a win by Michael Gilbert. So Gilbert notches his 4th victory of the season, and that will be his 10th podium appearance. Good job by Michael Gilbert, the former editor of Sport Rider Magazine, trying to make racing full-time at this moment. Michael Gilbert, Sport Rider Magazine, of course, closed their doors on Friday. So Gilbert able to stay focused on what's ahead of him here in New Jersey and is able to win this race. And what a championship we have in Superstock 600. I don't care what you say. Gilbert's got to walk over to Aguilar and shake his hand. I mean, to Nick McFadden and shake his hand and say, thanks, man, for putting yourself between. I know Nick doesn't care. Nick had one goal in mind.
He wants to get on that podium. Yep. That's where Nick belongs. Nick should be winning races still, and he knows that. So get a look at Valentine DeBees. He's always happy when he finishes on the podium, but it always makes him feel even better, I think, when he's racing with either one of the Yamaha guys and being able to show his talent. So great job there by Valentin to nip JD at the end of the race. But I said, Greg, at the beginning, if he can just kind of stay close and just kind of keep wearing things down and go from there.
So we'll see if JD was a little surprised by the move Valentin DeBees made. He held off all race. There were some moments there where we thought, oh, he might be a little bit too far back, but Valentin DeBees was able to snatch away really 2nd place from JD Beach. The margin on that particular battle, 0.069.
It's another 9 points, Greg, too, for Garrett over JD. So just like that, we're getting close now where we can start talking about Garrett wrapping things up tomorrow even.
That's right, because it's 51 points now, so all Garrett Gerloff would have to do is just finish ahead of JD Beach. It doesn't matter if it's 15th to 14th. It wouldn't make a difference. After tomorrow, there's only 50 points available, so if you have more than 50, you've already wrapped up the championship.
Yeah, so
right.
I think it's little. I think it's 41 points. 41 points.
41 points. But still, so if Garrett can do this again, 41. If he gets 9 again tomorrow in Valentin DeBees, then he would capture that. So still more racing, to go to decide the championship in the Supersport class, and plenty of racing in the Superstock 600. As we take a look at those results, it's Garrett Gerloff with a 10-second victory over Valentin DeBees, JD Beach, and Benny Solis. Your top 4 Supersport riders. Then that battle in Superstock. On the racetrack, Gilbert 5th, Braden Norton 6th, Nick McFadden 7th, Jason Aguilar 9th, and Connor Blevins, of course, in that title. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And that's going to mix things up as Braden Norton will get his 2nd podium appearance of the season. On back to Jody Berry, the 5th of our Supersport riders. Mazziato, who led the way early, drifted back. Might be a problem with him. Shane Richardson, too, who we also expected to do well, but his crew had to fix a crashed motorcycle from earlier today. Daytona Anderson back in action in 13th. Davis, Silva, Giannato, and Brandon Cleland, the 975, will round out our top 17. Cleland on that M4 X-Star Suzuki. Cox, Nassini, Picard, we saw that battle, Jason, back there.
There's a big battle back there.
Carolyn Olsen will finish in 23rd spot overall. So a very good race. I mean, of course, domination by Garrett Gerloff, who's looking to his future. Is it a Superbike ride for Garrett Gerloff? Is it going to Europe for Garrett Gerloff? The options are open for him as he continues to race, not only for this championship, but he's racing for his future. Here's a look at that battle. Sorry about that math from earlier. You're right. It's 41 points between Gerloff and JD Beach. Valentin DeBees, 105. No mathematical chance of winning this championship. Only JD Beach and Garrett Gerloff, because from this point forward, only 75 points remain up for grabs. Aguilar in 5th spot over Michael Gilbert, Nick McFadden, Connor Blevins, Shane Richardson. So all these riders having good runs at it. And you can see, Jason, if you're the Superstock 600 rider, it's always good to say, hey, I finished high up in that championship points battle and only a few. So, all right, let's go down to Hannah.
I'm here with our race winner, Garrett Gerloff, once again. I'm having deja vu. I feel like we've had this conversation quite a few times this season. You were able to get right back out front after the restart. Tell us about how you finished your race.
Yeah, I mean, luckily this track's so hard to pass it, and that before the restart, I was right behind JD and trying to line up a move, but you know, red flag, never good. But I got a second chance to get out in the lead to start with, and man, my bike feels so good this weekend. Like, I know that sounds like it's on a repeat, but every weekend we make the bike even better than it was the last, and you know, it just feels great to be with a team with such awesome energy and with such a good bike and the Yamaha R6. Really happy to be at the top of the podium right now. I was a little nervous going into this race, but feels good to just be on top of it and ready to keep looking forward to tomorrow and the next 3 races. It's going to be over pretty quick, but just got to thank my whole team, all those guys, everything they do for me, everybody that supports the team, everybody that supports me personally, back home, here at the track, everywhere, and just got to give all the glory to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Thank you.
Thanks, Garrett.